Growing up in a Jewish and Italian household, I never knew if it was biscotti or Mandel bread in the cookie jar, but today we're making Mandel bread. I'm using my grandmother's recipe box, and I'm also going to be using my Aunt Beth's altered recipe for Mandel bread. So it's just like grandma's, but Aunt Beth uses a little bit less sugar, and it's perfectly sweet because we dust it with some cinnamon sugar at the end. We're using vegetable oil as the fat, and talking about fat, these cookies are much softer than biscotti. Not crazy soft like a soft chocolate chip cookie, but they're softer than biscotti. You don't have to dip them into coffee or tea to get them soft. So we're adding in eggs, and I like to use room temperature eggs, so I will take them out of the fridge about 30 minutes prior to making this recipe. So now we're going to add in the sugar. I just use regular sugar, but you could also use cane sugar if you like. The vanilla is something I don't skimp on. We do not use imitation here. We use real vanilla, and I like to use 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Then we're going to whisk this until it's nice and fluffy, and then we're going to do our dry mixture. So that's just all-purpose flour. If you're gluten-free, you could try using 1-to-1 Bob's Red Mill is good. And then we're gonna also add in cinnamon. That gives the cookie some flavor. You could also add in some nutmeg. Some people like to use nutmeg as well. Now to help these cookies rise, we're using baking powder. And then don't forget salt to balance all those flavors, just a half a teaspoon. And then we're gonna mix this all together so that when we put it into the wet mixture, it can combine together. So I put those together in my mixer, and now I'm adding in chocolate chips. I use a cup of chocolate chips, but you could also mix in your favorite nuts or dried fruit. My family just likes it simple, chocolate chips. Now I like to let this rest in the fridge for 1 hour. Don't forget to put that recipe card back. Now I'm not sure, I've never made a full batch. I need to ask my Aunt Beth a question. So I'm making Mandel bread, and on the thing it says make it into 3 loaves. Can I just do it all on one pan?
Yeah, you take a big cookie sheet.
Yeah.
And, okay, so you have your bowl with all the dough. I usually divide the dough into 3 big meatballs.
Okay.
And then I put it on the thing, and then I flatten it out.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, because I always half the recipe, but I made the full recipe this time, and I'm like, do I need to use more than 1 pan? Because I usually just do 1 log, half the recipe. Okay, perfect. So like I would put them.
Funny. You know what? That's so funny, Court. I never thought of that, but I've never done half a recipe.
Yeah.
I guess because I always put in the freezer too, and everybody wants it.
Yeah, I'm gonna freeze it this time too.
Let me tell you, if you freeze it and then you take it and then you just take it and eat it from the freezer, it's out of this world frozen.
Okay, like Aunt Beth said, let's make 3 big balls of dough and make them nice and even, and then we're gonna flatten them out. I really try to make sure that they're all even before placing into the oven. And don't forget, these are a twice baked cookie, so we're gonna be baking them twice. So for this part, you could use a pastry scraper, but I can't find mine for some reason, so I actually went with a pizza cutter, and it actually worked beautifully. My pizza cutter is very sharp, so be careful when you're using a pizza cutter, but it really got those pieces nice and even, and I didn't get any breaks in my Mandel bread, which was really nice. Now after cutting, you want to actually place them upside like I have. This way they can toast nicely when you bake them for the second time. So now the Mandelbrot is done. You can easily enjoy it like this right after it cools, or you can add a little bit more flavor by adding some fresh cinnamon sugar, which my family loves to do. So to make that, you just simply add some cinnamon and sugar together in a bowl, and you can add as much or as little cinnamon as you like. We like a little bit more cinnamon, so you'll see that ours is pretty dark and not so sweet. You could still see cinnamon color in there, that nice brown. And then you're just going to sprinkle it right over the Mandelbrot. Now, some people actually like to do this for the second bake, so they'll sprinkle it all over the Mandelbrot right after slicing and then bake the cinnamon sugar in. But this is how we do it, and we hope you guys enjoy.